a program record set by himself.
Now Patrick Rogers is going to get us started. He sends it over and it's underway with a service error.
And immediately, the big key for Ball State was to limit those. And Patrick Rogers is new to this first spot in the service rotation. Generally, we've seen it as Lucas Machado, but it's been Rogers to start. Not a great beginning for the Redbirds.
Now Cam Hoying, he's listed as a setter, but he's been on the right side here lately. Machado. Basilio gets a stab at it. Estrada up for Daniel Haber. Patrick Rogers is there for the dig. Now Lewis tries, and it's out. Lewis gets another point.
And Lewis erupted in joy after that thought that they would even it up at 1-1. Didn't see the official point at the Flyers' way.
Something to clean up for the Cardinals. Now Hoying serving again. Lewis tries, but Paul is there. Now Hoying off of Machado, and it sails into the stands.
And often with this Ball State offense, we see that if one person makes an attack error, there it was Ryan Lewis, they immediately try and feed that person again to try and give them redemption, not throw them off their game. But when it's Nico Paul on the other end, leading the nation in digs, it's going to be hard to get it through him.
Flyers already coming out hot with a 3-point streak. Hoying again. And Rogers, and it sails out.
It's not that the Cardinals aren't being stopped by Lewis, it's just that they're getting in their own way. Lewis had an attack error, Patrick Rogers now had one from the back row, something you really don't see. Mercury must be in retrograde because Lewis up 4-0.
Flyers already looking cohesive out the gate. And a service error. It's the announcer jinx.
And it's a game of momentum right there. Service error for Lewis and Victor Scherer trying to hype his guys up, get anything going.
Now it's going to be middle blocker, Jacob Surratt out of Riverside, California. Schweitzer. Daniel Haber tries to push it down. It's set over. Kruger Bear in the middle, just an opening. He sent that home.
And we generally see middle blockers have more, at least higher clips of attack percentage, but Frederick Kruger Beer leads this team in attack percentage at 42.
And on the camera, you can see Mike Iandolo. He was named the head coach on December 16th of 2025 after Donan Cruz stepped down, but he was an assistant before then, and he has some coaching experience at Charleston as a head coach before then.
Well, Coach Cruz was now at Hawai'i at this point. And Coach Iandolo, in his first year, labeled as the interim head coach, he might be promoted to that head coaching spot. At least I wouldn't be shocked if he is, but he's brought this Cardinal squad to their best start since Coach Cruz's first year in 2022.
Haber with the service error. Now it's Ryan Lewis. Schweitzer's there. Now he'll swing. Savitsky Lind. Lewis is there, but Paula, and the whistle is blown. It's a point for the Cardinals.
And Paula hit the deck hard. It must have been an error in formation or something for Lewis, but that Ryan Lewis kill, it's hard to bring Nico Paula down or get a ball by him. To land him on the Terraflex, that's something else.
Now Lewis serves again, it hits the net on the way, and it's an ace for Ryan Lewis.
It's ace number 27 of the year. He's third on this squad behind Rogers and Machado.
With the service errors starting out for the Cardinals, there's definitely some light with a service ace in the mix. And it follows by a service error. It's another jinx for us.
Well, generally you see about a 1-to-2 ratio between aces and errors, so Lewis makes it a 1-1 immediate ace when he gets to the stripe. That time just out of play.
Now, Dan Friend, we already talk about some history with him.
Coach Friend has been there and done that. 429 career wins. He's fourth among D1, D2 coaches in career wins at the volleyball level.
And a kill by Machado. We love to see an attack from a setter.
And then
But more
Basilio.
on head coach Dan Friend. It's his 22nd season. He's only the second coach in Lewis program history. He's ranked 4th among active D1 and D2 coaches in wins with 429, and he's a 3-time MIVA champion.
And when you look at this top 20 in the AVCA, he's beaten all of them in ranked non-conference games.
Patrick Rogers, and it's called in. He hits the coffin corner.
Patrick Rogers added a little extra in that huddle after. You can tell that Ball State is coming in with a little bit more, I suppose, sass.
Oh, just look at that. Perfectly placed. It's the Rogers way. Now Will Basilio sent back over quickly on the reception. Patrick Rogers tries again. And there's a net violation. It's point for Lewis.
And continually, Ball State just getting in their own way. They were able to get the attack home for the Flyers to respond, but an error in formation means that we're still knotted up very closely here.
And they still have time to clean it up, only down by 1 point right now. Now it's the setter, Diego Estrada out of Puerto Rico. Afloat. Savitsky Lynn tries. Now it's Schweitzer, but Cher's there to boot it back over. Lewis is there. Machado puts it back into play. It's free-balled over by Rogers. Paula. The back row attack from Haber. It's just too much for Scherer to take.
Well, when you think about a back row attack for someone like Daniel Haber or any outside hitter, think of it like a quarterback in the shotgun offense. It's a chance for them to survey the floor and get a better shot at finding the opening.
Estrada again. Oh, and it's hit back over. They completely tricked Machado.
Ball State trying to do the best that they can to keep attitudes high and keep their momentum, but you can tell these guys are rattled, and certainly Machado is at this point.
And it's such a high IQ play, being able to do that off the set without getting a net violation. The ability to maneuver yourself in such a way to make such an awesome play for your team. But it's followed by a service error from Diego Estrada, just not enough on it.
I like the idea from Estrada. A lot of times we see this flame-throwing attempt to put as much power as you possibly can, and that generally is the cause of a lot of service errors. But Estrada, it's a nice job of just trying to mix things up, that time to no avail.
Braden Savitsky-Lynn with the spin serve. Haber picks it up. Sean Baggs Jr. just in front of Ryan Lewis for the kill.
Second in the MIVA in blocks and 7th in the nation with 85, but he can get it done on the offensive end as well. He's got 1.1 kills per set, and that's his 86th of the year.
Cole Schweitzer. And it sails out for another service error.
I think that official took an extra beat to raise that red flag. It was a close one, at least. A good effort there from Schweitzer.
Now Lucas Machado to serve. He's usually the starter for this server lineup. And that sails out. It's a trade.
Rogers leads this team with 71 service errors. Machado's there with 49 now as well. And you don't see that from him. Generally, he has some of the better placement in this rotation.
Yeah, we saw a lot in the beginning of the year, him getting service aces after service aces, but now errors have come in the mix for this whole entire conference. Now Sean Baggs, and another service error.
And sure enough,
Sean Baggs just beside himself after that one. Nico Paula comes back in.
heard from Game Ops that there's a Jumbotron above us, and on the scoreboard, they've decided to take off service errors because there's just been so many across both teams.
Patrick Rogers. Back row attack from Schweitzer sails out. Lewis is calling for a touch.
Believe it was that middle blocker, Surratt, that got a little bit of his digit on it. Would have sailed out of bounds, but I understand the thought process to try and get up. Must have hit the wrong part of FKB's hand.
Lewis was right, there was a touch, so they're credited with the point. Now Cam Hoying serves. Rogers up for Surratt. Too hot to handle.
And that's the cleanest play from the Cardinals that we've seen to this point. Nice little short set from Machado, and Jacob Surratt gets a beauty.
And you see Basilio go up for it. Maybe he'll ascend for that kill and that attack, but no, Surratt gets to it. Now he serves. Hoying tries, but it's blocked. Except it's out of bounds, so it's point for the Flyers.
It would have been a great block from Basilio, but it means it's considered a tool for the Flyers squad. Great job from Hoying to range in from really in back row territory to get that down, but it means he's got forward momentum as well as upward, enough where Basilio can't get his hands inside.
Now our impact player, Daniel Haber at the service line. Fiery serve. Basilio! And Nico Paula, you don't see that much from him. He couldn't get the dig.
The Cardinals are doing a nice job of mixing it up and trying to keep Lewis on their toes in the front row. That time it was the middle blocker to rise and Basilio to get it done.
Nico Paula, what a defensive weapon for this team. Leads the nation in digs.
Leads the MIVA with 45. Leads the NCAA by 20. Unbelievable.
Ryan Lewis. Haber digs for it. Now Hoying. And Sherrills does the splits to try and keep that off the floor.
And it's all smiles from Victor Scherer, because as good of a libero as he is in an attack position like that, even he can't get to it. And he knows that.
He knows that, but he still is putting his body on the line. It's for the love of the game.
Him and Adir Ben-Shlush, both of them, sacrificing limbs and digits left and right to try and keep these balls up. But when it's Cam Hoying on the other end, look out.
Now for the first time today, we see Tyler Walanga to serve. Basilio there calling. Lewis! And back to Tyler Walanga really quickly, and he falls backwards.
Well, Walanga brought some good velocity to that serve. A nice little 50 miles an hour. Ryan Lewis on the other end, a good 70 right to the knees. Welcome to this game, Lewis says.
The Canadian, Will Basilio. For Schweitzer, and it's out. Point for Ball State.
And a good call from Ryan Lewis to immediately, before that ball hit the ground, raise his hand up and say, hey, that was out. Sure enough, it is, and Ball State very close to tying this one up.
Right to Haber. And Hoying. And it's a Lewis point off the Ball State touch.
First days ago when they came here to Worthen to get comfortable with the Worthen environment. It really is an arena style of play.
And it's number 300 for Patrick Rogers. He takes us back from the timeout with a fiery kill.
Big congratulations to Rogers. 300 on the year. He is the 9th player in Division I volleyball to eclipse that mark, and he's done it at such an efficient level. 41% coming into today, also 5th in the nation.
BSL with the spin serve, and it's called in. It hits right at the line for the ace.
That's the definition of sticking the line for Braden Savitsky-Lind. I'm really interested to see how his serve progressed throughout the season. He's still added a little more spin to it, and now it's a chance for some discussion.
The Ball State bench looking really happy about it, but can only hope for it. A service ace, and Braden Savitsky-Lind executed it perfectly. Off the block, but it's kept up. Rogers goes up for it. Estrada's there to save. Cole Schweitzer tries to tap over, and Ryan Lewis just out of reach.
And that's the fun part of volleyball. If you're an outside hitter, you don't have to slam it every single time you get an attack. That time, just a roll shot, really a net assist on that. Just enough touching that lattice where Ryan Lewis couldn't get an arm on it.
Schweitzer serves. Lewis wants it, and he gets it.
It's not often that the Cardinals are playing from behind because they've just been so productive this year, but with Lewis's hot start, it means that they're trying anything they can to build some momentum. And who else but Ryan Lewis to use all of his 6'9" frame. Textbook.
It's Lewis v. Lewis. Machado serves. And it's the attack error and a Ball State point.
An uncharacteristic from Cam Hoying, a .267 attack percentage, but he's been one of the most interesting stories around the MIVA. Started as the backup setter, OG Awuz goes down and he fills in at the opposite spot. Since then, 4th most kills in the MIVA.
They say he's been practicing his attack. That one didn't land. Lewis tries again. Surrett revives from the block, and now he tries, and perfectly placed for Surrett again.
And that's just fun volleyball. Everything is breaking down on this Cardinal side. Lewis has a great block, and then
Lucas Machado will bring us back from the timeout. Ball State up 2 now. Haber tries to tap it over. It fails. Now Basilio tries. Scherer dives to keep it in play. Now Lewis and Paula. He digs it out of bounds. It's a nice hard-earned point for the Cardinals.
And it means that Lewis now has 4 kills leading both of these teams. It has been the Ryan Lewis show from the opening serve.
Yeah, just a sophomore he is, but he's a huge part of this team, and he's that last puzzle piece to fill in and finish the puzzle of those pin hitters.
And you saw it right there. He is a spark plug in the middle of a breakout.
And a blocking error. Haber gets credited. It was off of Lewis and Surrett's hands, and it flies out of bounds.
And the one caveat of Ryan Lewis being 6'9", you're able to get a hand on pretty much every attack that's headed your way. The problem with that is, as good of it as a blocker that Lewis is, it means that some of those attacks are always going to hit him, and hit him in a spot where these Ball State Cardinals can't get that second touch.
For the first time, we see Gautier Brozak to serve. And it's an ace! We hardly see him. He's only had 31 sets played this season, and he comes in, and there's an ace now, his 8th on the season. We also see Tyler Vasquez in for the first time today, not wearing the libero shirt. And Brozak follows his fiery ace with an error.
I like the idea of having Vasquez as he's labeled as a libero, but he's not wearing the shirt. It means when Ball State can receive that serve and get on the offensive end, it means that there's essentially another libero in there, almost like we see in the women's game where you have a libero and possibly a defensive specialist in there as well. This time it's Vasquez to get that role.
Rogers serves. Paulo there. Vasquez puts it back in play for Haber, and it's almost blocked but revived. Boying gets a try at it, and he gets it. For the Flyers, they're only down by 1.
You would have thought when Daniel Haber went down, you would have thought that the only attack that Lewis can really do here is to that opposite pin. I would have wanted to see Surrett start moseying his way toward that left side, but just couldn't get there in time.
Cam Hoying now serves. Machado runs for the set, and Basilio, it's called in.
That's just well placed from Basilio. Able to get the dig off that serve, immediately calls for it, and then gets it done.
And now the freshman enters the game. It's Tyler Wint out of Winter Park, Florida. We've seen him a few times. It bounces over the net. Paul is there. Daniel Haber pushes it over. Machado, he doesn't like that.
It's one of the more unstoppable plays in volleyball at this point. It doesn't matter how fast or how hard you can get it down. It just matters if you can get it down. We've seen it with Patrick Rogers for the duration of the year. He kind of does this two-handed push every once in a while. That time, Haber just finding any part of Terraflex that he can and just shoves it in.
Yeah, his accuracy. We see that from him a lot. We've seen it all season long, but his ability to read those openings and place the ball there, and it just leaves the other team not expecting it. It's a completely unprecedented move.
Well, and a lot of that comes with his experience. He's a senior. He's been there and done that in this game and in this conference.
Ryan Lewis tries to do the same thing, and it's a blocking error.
Patrick Rogers, very loud in his facial expressions to Ryan Lewis. Again, it's just that example of doing just enough to get it your way. That time, Lewis using the block to his advantage as a fourth touch.
Now Lewis serves. For Schweitzer. And it's a Ball State point.
And Lewis started very well in this first set, but now 25, Ball State got on top of Lewis in 24 and 23 the years before.
Ryan Lewis now to take us back. Haber digs for it. Hoying from the back. Shares there. Lewis sets it back for Basilio. Almost out of reach, but it's kept in play. Free balled over. Now for Patrick Rogers in the back. It's called a Ball State point. It is in. Everybody's shaking up Patrick Rogers. What a kill.
And it is dance time in Worthen Arena. You saw the Lewis guys get very excited. They thought they had the point. No, the opposite hitter, Hoying, touched it. And then Ball State had their turn to yell.
All smiles from Patrick Rogers. Lewis ready to end this. Haber. The pancake attempt from Ryan Lewis. He tries, but does not succeed. It's still set point.
Well, that's all right. Ball State has just a couple points to give in this one, but I don't know how that made it across. There really was just some pinball between Haber and Estrada.
Frederick Krugerbeer, the redshirt sophomore out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, he'll serve. The float. Basilio, and off the block, it's out. Ball State takes the first set by storm.
And that ball was almost on the Lewis side, on the Machado set.
Gonna get this second set started. Lewis tries to take a set back. And Ryan Lewis, an attack from the left.
We've seen that at some points this year where Lewis starts as that outside hitter and Rogers moves to the opposite. And if these two weren't difficult enough to defend, having them on one side versus the other, woof.
And sometimes it's a passing technique, and sometimes it's the rotation that puts them in those places, but there they are, their own positions by their core. Weyerhaeuser. Lewis tries on the right now, and he gets it.
He can do it from the left. He can do it from the right. He can do it in the back row. That's part of this next man up thing as well. The diversity and the versatility across the board. Lewis and Rogers can both do that.
We see middle blocker Josh Weyerhaeuser coming in for the first time this game. Patrick Rogers serves. And Haber. Basilio now off the block, but it's kept up. Basilio tries again. Now Hoying will go for it. And off the touch, it's out of bounds. It's a Lewis point.
I think it's a misstep by Victor Scherer in trying to get that, but the only person that wasn't standing on the bench side for Lewis was Sean Baggs Jr., who's not in the game at this point. I like the decision of having Weyerhaeuser in. Last game against McKendree, a career high 5 kills, hitting at 83% for him. He had a career day. Let's build that forward.
Daniel Haber to serve for the first time this set. Now for Basilio, he gets it this time.
The biggest caveat to Will Basilio, or the biggest blemish on his game to this point, is his controls in his attack. He's been very precise from his own half. To be able to have a cross-court kill past Nico Paula, his game is only evolving.
Surratt now. Schweitzer from the left, not quite. Now Rogers pushes it over into the net, but it's kept up. Paula sets it back over. BSL. And Diego Estrada with the play. The soft dump usually usually see it out of Machado, but Estrada can bring it too.
Sock it to me. Could it be qualified as a block? Maybe a kill? Whatever it is, the two-handed push just to keep Ball State out of rhythm. Kill number 23. Not entirely out of the ordinary for Estrada, but from that setter position, you don't see too much of a workload.
Josh Weyerhaeuser. Patrick Rogers. And Daniel Haber watches it fly by. It's another kill for the road runner.
P-Rod 2 times tried to attack from the back row in the first set. Neither of them worked. Uncharacteristic of him. This time, in the second, he's been 2 for 2 in that attack.
Baby Giraffe serves into the net. It's the first service error of this set.
And this is such a problem across the conference, again, gathering momentum. Ryan Lewis, again, it's been his game today. He already has 7 kills, but a service error is going to slow him down a little bit.
Estrada. Going for it, Lewis, and he gets it.
That is not slowing down. Kill number 8 for Ryan Lewis, and we're barely into the second set. He has been on a tear.
Yeah, 8 kills already, which is unbelievable. Usually we see double-digit kills within like the third set, and he's also hitting at a 5.45 clip. Unbelievable.
At the beginning of the year, Coach Iandolo, called him just a dog.
But Sean Baggs comes back in and he brings the heat.
Well, welcome back to the floor, Sean Baggs. It's number 87 on the year for him and had quite the struggle against McKendree last game, just 1 on the day.
Now we see Cole Schweitzer at the service line. A joust at the net, falls back on the Cardinals side, and Ryan Lewis will try it again. No whistle blown, but Braden Savitsky-Lind will end it once and for all.
And that's BSL's first kill of today on his 3rd attack. Why not go to Ryan Lewis? I love the idea, but outstanding play from Nico Paula to somehow get that up. I don't know what part of the body hit that ball, bounces into the net. Lewis somehow gets it over, but amidst that scramble, BSL finishes it off.
Sean Baggs will try it again. And bouncing off the net, it just lands behind a flock of Cardinals.
And that's the flaw of the rotation. It means Braden Savitsky-Lind is in that back left corner. He can't get up there for the block, and it's hard for him to try and get up and keep that ball on that Cardinals side.
1 point separates the 2 teams. And Sean Baggs Jr. will serve. Patrick Rogers tried to push over. Cole Schweitzer from the back, no. Patrick Rogers tries again, and yes, it lands this time.
That pinballs between the 2 Lewis middle blockers. This was a highly touted matchup. Throughout about halfway through the year, this one was really marked on the calendars for both squads. Lewis, first in the nation in team total blocks. Ball State, the highest attack percentage in the MIVA and the 3rd highest in the NCAA. It's great offense versus great defense.
Weyerhaeuser, a firing attack, but it's saved. Sent over by Surratt. Weyerhaeuser tries again, but it's blocked up front. Except it's a net violation. Maybe.
It'll be Lewis's serve. I believe it was the kill from Josh Weyerhaeuser, a tip from the middle blockers. Victor Scherer would have gotten a medal if Ball State scored that point.
Cam Hoying. And Surratt tries to hit it like a bat, knowing that the rally was over.
Just laps for Lewis and Surratt. That ball came our way. There was no chance that they could get it on their side and then back over to the Lewis end without touching a pole.
Following an ace, Hoying serves again. Off the net. The attack, and it flies out. Point tries to run for it, but just out of reach.
And again, it's that creativity from the Ball State offense. That was Patrick Rogers from the opposite spot. Number 5 on the day for him.
He will serve now. The fake from Weyerhaeuser, the attack from Haber, but that's not enough trickery for the Cardinals.
It's been everything Ryan Lewis. We can't talk about this guy enough. 8 kills, 1 service ace, and there, his second block of the game. Monster block.
The attack from Weyerhaeuser falls again.
That time it's that short set from the Lewis side. Weyerhaeuser able to bring that down. And in a game that we knew was going to be close, it was neck and neck for most of set 1. And just a 1-point game here in set 2.
Daniel Haber returns to the service line. Rogers kneels for it, and Surrett with the kill. Daniel Haber tries to dig for it, but again out of reach.
And Surrett's game is efficiency. For much of this year, including now, he leads this team in overall attack percentage. Coming into today, 55.7%. Today, he's had 3 attacks, all of them landing home.
What a middle blocker duo today.
Looks like there's some sweat on the floor.
Yeah, Cam Hoying with the towel.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
Put your body on the line. It's for the love of the game. Ball flies towards us, but Schweitzer will try and tap it over. It's kept alive. Estrada will set it up for Haber to ascend, and yes! Another kill from our impact player, Daniel Haber.
These 2 squads are so good that if one makes a mistake, the other's going to capitalize, and we've seen it today. It was a mishandled bump by Braden Savitsky-Lind, who, in his middle blocker position, generally isn't doing that. Daniel Haber from the back row, just able to take advantage.
Josh Weyerhaeuser. Just a chaotic rally, but Ryan Lewis able to capitalize on that. There were bodies on the floor.
And he is 1 kill away from double digits. He hasn't had double figures in the last 3 games, and he's had 13 of those on the year, so he's close to that 10 mark.
Ryan Lewis again. And it falls over. A service ace. Ryan Lewis on his game today.
And there's the power that we see from these servers, and that's why there's so many service errors, because you're willing to eat those for the aces. Lewis, so much pop in his right arm that it hits the arm of Haber and goes on Ball State side out of bounds.
Cole Schweitzer tries to tip it over. The whistle is blown. It's a Lewis point.
And sometimes it's your own mistakes that throw other people off. Lewis and Ball State, both such clean teams that the Flyers were out of rhythm there, somehow able to get it over, and it meant that Ball State didn't expect what was going on.
Basilio. And off the block, it's out. It's another Ball State point.
And that time, it's Lucas Machado with the bump from the front row. He had to fall all the way down and sprawl into the Terraflex to get that one. He is on the ground, and then Basilio up to get the tool.
From the back, it's Haber. And it lands. Scherer with the messy dig. It's not able to be kept off the ground.
And there's that power we've talked about in the 1-2 duo that we mentioned coming into this one. Hoying has 5 kills. Haber now 6, leading the Flyers.
Schweitzer. And a service error. It sails wide left.
And we've been able to say the word kills a lot at this point. When it comes to attack percentage, I'm going to harp on it over and over in this broadcast. Again, that ideal number, about 250 as a team. Lewis at an outstanding 450, but Ball State 524 through about a set and a half.
Unbelievable numbers, but BSL will bring us back. Sean Bax Jr. Now Rogers, but it's out.
Would have thought that Rogers had stuck the line with the off-speed kill, and that's where you just see it's a game of inches. He almost had it, but instead, it's now a 2-point margin.
Gautier Brozak checks in again. Sean Bax Jr. checks out.
And when Brozak came in to serve in the first set, around this time, he got one of the aces for Lewis, the second of their team total.
Yeah, he's coming out of Liege, Belgium. And it's a service error again for the Flyers. A regular season game for both of these teams after tonight. And then it's MIVA tournament time.
It's really a fight between Loyola and Ball State for that 1 seed.
And a push from Patrick Rogers. We've talked about it all game long. It's that unstoppable force of just that one seemingly minute push.
And some of it is just a change of pace. You're not used to a ball just tipped right back to you at about, it's probably less than 10 miles an hour from Rogers, but we've seen him get as high as 65, 70 miles an hour from his right arm.
The Macho Man now to serve. For Hoying. And off the block, it's out. Flyer point.
Rogers immediately frustrated with himself. He thought he had a great block. It looked like it stuck the line for a moment. Instead, falls into the black of the court. We're at 3.
Wyatt Jones now in. He's a freshman setter from Lake Zurich, Illinois. His 6th set of the season. The attack attempt doesn't fall. Jones to Schweitzer and another push. Check that, Haber.
Just like that, Wyatt Jones comes in his first play, gets an assist. He played in that McKendree game last week. He had 9 assists and 1 service error in his 2 sets played. In that last game, there must have been an injury of some sort because it was his first game since March 21st.
Getting this playing time so crucial for the freshman. But a service error for Hoying.
And Lewis already close to double digits in that number. They're at 9, Ball State at 4. The Cardinals have done a great job of limiting it to this point. There's still a whole lot of game left, but still, when you combine these two, it is not a pretty number.
Rogers. Set up to Cole Schweitzer for the back row attack, but Rogers is there to save it. And it's tapped over, but still kept off. Free balled by Lewis. Jones sets it up for Hoying. It's still alive. Basilio looks to finish it off. We're still in play. And Patrick Rogers from the back cards up by 4.
And here comes Patrick Rogers. Beautiful rally. That's what we love about the MIVA. Anyone can beat anyone at any time. And just look at Queens. They're at the bottom of the conference, 1-15 in MIVA play, but that one win was against the Ohio State Buckeyes in Columbus in a reverse sweep that puts them at the 5 spot instead of the 4 that they're not trying to get back against the McKendree.
Rogers will bring us back. And warranting a 4th hit, Wyatt Jones, he just pushes it over, and it puts the Cardinals out of sorts.
And it was enough. It was a great effort from Patrick Rogers. Machado, a nice, easy set over. I suppose there's some discourse as to whether or not it was 4 hits.
Patrick Rogers talking to the official.
Rogers, one of the 4 captains on this squad, alongside Will Basilio, Eyal Rawitz, and Griffin Satterfield.
How about Eyal? What a gem for this Ball State Cardinals team.
He's been such a story, hasn't really been able to get on the floor in just about the past 2 years, but brings such an impact off the bench. He's a weight room leader, he's a locker room leader, and he does so much in the intangibles. He's almost another coach on this squad.
Another leader for sure. Haber takes us out. And a joust at the net. Seems to be a net violation, but it's in favor of the Flyers.
The biggest problem that Ball State has had throughout all of tonight is when it gets to that play, that joust at the net. Lewis so dominant in their blocks that the Cardinals can't really handle it and don't have the space or time to get anything going.
Haber with a thunderous serve. Off the block, kept alive. Hoying off of Sheridan, looks like his face. Sheridan diving everywhere. Lewis ready to end it, and it's called in. Another Cardinal point. They're now up to 19.
Victor Scherer putting blood, sweat, and tears and his face on the line. Looked like he took a ball to the forehead, and then Lewis with the fadeaway kill to bring in none other than Marty Canavan.
Oh, Marty Canavan, the TikTok star. We see him making pregame TikToks with Will Patterson and Coach Hogue before. Almost every game, doesn't matter the place or the time, but he now serves. Unfortunate service error for him, but it's all smiles.
Now comes back out for Jacob Surratt. You know, the Cardinals just had a crazy rally with these Flyers, and Worthen got super loud, and it almost seemed like they got louder when Canavan checked in.
Weyerhaeuser. Set up for Lewis. Weyerhaeuser sets it back up, freeballed over by Hoying. And he tries again. Hoying looking to keep this in play, he runs for it. Freeballed back over by Schweitzer. Now BSL. Hoying and Haber fight for it, and it flies out.
And after there's been so many attacks from either pin at Rogers, Lewis, and Basilio, every once in a while it's the middles to keep Lewis guessing. That time Braden Savitsky-Lind with kill number 2. Jacob Surratt has 3 on the day.
Schweitzer with the attack. Off the block, Paul is there to dig it up. Schweitzer tries again. This time Rogers digs it up with 1. Lewis. And it's a Ball State point, the blocking error.
And it's enough for the tool from Ryan Lewis. Lucas Machado, to hit at 500, there's just no other word than absurd.
An unfortunate service error from Ryan Lewis, but that definitely doesn't cover the fact that he's had a stellar game so far.
And again, we want to talk about hitting percentage. How about 55 from a pin hitter?
Just unbelievable numbers from him. And he'll go for it again. Body's hitting the floor for the dig, but it just sails out of bounds. Machado hit the floor pretty hard, but the teamwork there, he's all smiles, everybody to get him up.
There was some concern for Lucas Machado. He stayed down just enough to where there was a little bit of worry, but got back up, popped up with a smile. He's all good.
Jones serves. Patrick Rogers with the back row attack. And Lewis, their defense shines again.
And there's that middle blocking presence that we've seen for much of this year. Sean Baggs and Frederick Kruger-Beer. I believe Cameron Hoying was in on that as well. Patrick Rogers from the back row is one of the most efficient attacks across the MIVA. To stop that alone is quite the accomplishment.
BSL with the attack, it's in. Nobody's able to get it.
And it's a game of efficiency now for these middles as well. Surratt still hitting perfectly. Braden Savitsky-Lind at 600 alone.
Will Basilio. Hoying tries from the left. Lewis brings it back. Wyatt Jones with the dig. Set by Paula. Hoying will try again. Can't fool the cards. Now Schweitzer sets it over. BSL up for it to set. And Machado, but it flies out.
It's a nice idea from Lucas Machado and Brayton Savitsky-Lynn, but I want to shout out Nico Paula on that play. As that first touch went up, he clapped his hands a couple times to get the sweat off, then had 2 digs in that possession alone.
The Lewis bench pretty happy with that one. Patrick Rogers will try again, and Scherer could not dive far enough.
And it is not often that Patrick Rogers can be denied. Here he goes up, and the rejection from the middle. That's Sean Baggs Jr., second in the MIVA in blocks coming into today. And Rogers has to be frustrated.
What a celebration from Sean Baggs Jr. there, too. Ryan Lewis. Paula an immediate dig. Regrouping. Rogers. Oh my goodness. What an attack.
I see the idea. He saw that Lewis was going to get up there with their block attempt. Just tried to get a little bit of hand action in there. But I believe some of it was an emotional decision as well. We saw him frustrated. Maybe he could get some Lewis Flyer hands in there, but it was just to take out his frustration.
Schweitzer. And the dump attempt fails just right into the net. And it's Lewis.
Big props to Lewis to have this kind of lead in a set.
Cole Schweitzer ready to end this set off. Free ball back over by BSL. Sean Baggs goes for it. Scherer's there. A block attempt, no. And off the touch, Patrick Rogers will keep the set on.
And that's the Patrick Rogers redemption that we saw from that kill attempt that was way too far. I believe it hit that first row of fans in the stands. It went that far on the try. Didn't have to put as much into it. A little bit off speed.
Now Tyler Wint checks back in to serve. Weight on his shoulders just from a serve. Hoying. And it's a Lewis point off a Ball State touch. Serve is none other than Patrick Rogers. And Ryan Lewis, he comes back with a vengeance after a second set loss to bring the Cardinals up first point.
And we've talked about him more than anybody to this point. Now at 12 kills on the day, it's his most in a long while, about a month and a half's time.
Rogers will serve again. Haber. Rogers sets it up, and Scherer tries to go for the dig. Just too much sauce.
And that's what's been so great about this match to this point, Annika. As soon as Ball State makes one great play, Lewis will respond with another, and then Ball State will do something else. It's just been so back and forth, and no momentum can be gained on either side.
The guy, Cameron Hoying, a service error. Victor Scherer's really happy about that one.
We hadn't seen one in a long while, but just when we couldn't get it out of our heads. It's now 15 between these two.
Jacob Surratt now. Haber tries. Rogers is there. Now it's Basilio's turn, but it's out.
I really thought that it touched some sort of hand there for the Lewis Flyers squad. To no avail. I thought that Wyatt Jones had a little bit of digit on it, but sails comfortably out of play. And a high-pace, fast game. We're at 2-2 in set 3.
It's a surface error.
Our mics might have picked that up, but the Worthen effect is loud and clear.
Ryan Lewis. For Schweitzer, no. He'll try again by setting it over. Tapped back over by Basilio, but it's kept up. Now Hoying tries right in between Rogers and Scherer.
Mouth guard and all, flying for Cameron Hoying. Well done play, able to get some momentum on it from that spot in the back row.
If you take a look, Cam Hoying and Daniel Haber, they're shoe twins.
Matching shoes, matching that left knee pad as well.
Ryan Lewis, far right. Flyers take the lead.
That's the fastest attack off of Ryan Lewis we've seen tonight, but a little bit too fast, out of play, and one of his few rare attack errors, just his third of the day.
Weyerhaeuser, too much of a float, and it's not able to catch over the net.
And in each one of his serves tries, we have seen that from Weyerhaeuser. He's trying to get that float, just trying to keep the Cardinals uncomfortable. We saw it a little bit in the women's game, in the game we called for Central Michigan, where it's just a float serve, keep the front row uncomfortable. Hasn't worked so far.
Hoying now tries. Now Patrick Rogers, but it goes right back to Scherer. Ryan Lewis will try again to get it back. No. Hoying in the coffin corner.
Not only is there power, but there is placement on that right arm of Cam Hoying. Finds the corner, sticks the line past 5 different Cardinals. It's hard to believe this guy was a backup setter to begin the year.
Still blows my mind. Wyatt Jones will serve, hits the net. BSL. Haber falls over trying to get it. Schweitzer, but a dump or a block. It's by BSL and Lucas Machado.
And Schweitzer tried for the off-speed, but Machado's arms were still up there. It almost looked like an alley-oop from one team to the other.
Daniel Haber wiping something off the floor.
Makes sense. Guys are flying left and right in this one.
Last rally, Haber flew himself. Savitsky Lind flies out. Another service error.
And I mentioned it earlier in the year, but it's interesting to see how his serve has progressed. He's added a little bit more spin, maybe a little bit less. He's tried to put it in different areas on the opposing floor. That time, just the wrong part of his hand, and it sails out of play.
Schweitzer, a loud serve. Basilio, the pancake from Paula fails. It's another point for the Cardinals.
And that's no disrespect to Nico Paula coming into today, leading the nation in digs by 20, but even he couldn't get that one. Thought there might have been a pancake there, but Basilio immediately pointing and saying, hey, that one was down.
Machado serves, far reception. Lewis keeps it in play. It's free ball back over by Machado. And the dig. And Sean Baggs. He's dominant. Offense, defense, he can do it all.
Was a great effort from this Ball State squad. Coach Ryan Lewis was right over here, right in front of us, right behind the officials' ladder, was able to keep it in. But again, Cardinals' mistakes, the Flyers capitalize.
For Rogers, no. He tries again, this time it goes.
And there's that two-handed push that we've seen 3 different times today. Just one of the most unstoppable moves in volleyball. It doesn't have to be pretty as long as you get it down.
Patrick Rogers to serve. He's got 9 kills on the day. It's a replay. No whistle was blown. So Patrick Rogers will serve again.
All smiles from Rogers. He just looked at that official and said, hey, sorry.
Hoying. It knocks down Scherer. Nobody able to pick up.
that's the discretion of talent. Nico Paula ranging to his right, able to get that dig off the Rogers serve. And then it goes back to Scherer and Ball State's libero. Can't get it done when it's going that quickly.
Lewis now, off the touch. Ryan Lewis again.
You know, we talked about the fact that Ball State is trying to force a firefight, but more than anything, both of these teams are just forcing each other to play high-quality volleyball. That's why it's been so much fun to watch, and that's why it's been so neck and neck.
Strut now. Weyerhaeuser tries. Machado, angry about that one.
Like we said coming into today, we knew that Ball State was going to come in with an added oomph, as was Lewis. I think that's the angriest I've seen Machado all season. Grabbing the ball, slamming his head, James Harden-esque.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Daniel Haber now serves.
10, 11.
Rogers with the pancake. Free balled by Lewis. Hoying tries, and they're saying it flies out. It's another Ball State point.
Its way. I'm really excited to see our angles here.
Here we see.
Here's the Hoying swing. Doesn't touch Basilio's arm and dives out like a sinker. As long as it didn't hit a digit of Basilio, it doesn't look like it did. No touch from Scherer either. And just like that, Ball State's point.
Not a very long challenge needed. It seemed pretty obvious from our end that it sailed out. It was just a matter of if it was in or out, or if there was a touch, but we didn't see anything peculiar from the Cardinals.
Well, one of the most amazing things in volleyball with these attackers is how they can spin the ball in the air. Some balls move like sinkers, sliders, or curveballs.
And a service ace again from Ryan Lewis. That gives him 3 on the day.
It's number 3 for Ball State. Every single one coming off Ryan Lewis's arm. We talked about the type of break that these serves and attacks have. That one, spinning it in the way he did, makes it like a fastball.
Set back up. Basilio. Scherer picks it up. And Braden Savitsky Lind. It's a strike of lightning down into the gap for the kill.
And BSL comes in with authority. He puts so much torque into that one. Look out.
You always got to be afraid when BSL goes up for the swing. An attack sails out. It's another BSU point.
Looks like Haber's pretty frustrated with himself on that one. Be a chance to call a timeout now for Lewis. There was no Cardinal even in contention for the block. It was just mishandled by Haber and out of bounds on the right side.
Ball State now up 3, and Ryan Lewis with his 4th ace now on the day. You talk about the service errors, but the ace mean so much more.
And it's just Ryan Lewis really for Ball State. Braden Savitsky Lind has 1, but Lewis has 4 of the Redbirds' 5.
Haber now. And Ryan Lewis collapses after that one. He wanted that one back.
Lewis has embarrassed these Flyers for much of the game today. Some of that could be a little bit directed. Let's swing it his way. Let's make him fall into the Terraflex, kind of knock him back into place. It's the gamesmanship between these two.
Ryan Lewis now the only player this match long with double-digit kills. He's got 13 on the day. And now we see Tyler Willenga in to serve. BSL goes for it. Hoying saves. The tap by Haber. And the attack by Rogers off Tyler Willenga's hand. Patrick Rogers does it again.
That's impact on impact right there. Daniel Haber, a touch from the back row. Patrick Rogers responds with a bazooka of his own.
torpedoes away from Patrick Rogers. Him and Lewis getting it done.
Not only did he get that kill from the back row, he was able to land it across his body for his 10th kill.
True talent, but Sean Baggs ready for the attack. Lewis gets it back up this time, set back over by Rogers. Hoying digs for it. Machado with the attack. It's not expected. And Ball State ends up victorious in that rally. What an attack by Lucas Machado.
Well, there's the Macho attack. We've been waiting to see number 2 after the first one didn't go his way, and that's what Ball State has to keep doing. You got to keep these Flyers uncomfortable because their blocking has been so productive all season long.
BSL was ready to tap that ball back over. Immediately when he lands, he puts his hands up like, I didn't touch the net. But the officials agreed.
My favorite person to watch in this one is Victor Scherer, just getting so animated with every point.
And the service ace from Will Basilio. And look, just as you said, Victor Scherer smiling ear to ear. He's loving it.
And there's a reason to get happy. The 6th service ace for this Cardinals squad. We said it was so important that they had to limit errors. They've got 7 today, but 5 aces. I think they'll take that any day.
We see Todorov in here for the first time, and he goes for the attack. Machado! Is it in? The line judge says yes! Macho Man does it again!
Now Macho, 2 attacks, 2 kills. He might have cracked the floorboards with this one. Look at that! Past 2 blockers, has just the right amount of oomph and mustard, and it is all Ball State. Look at the faces.
Stepping up, 9 kills today again. You never really see setters really going for that attacking, but he's been practicing and he's really shined in that area. Instead of assisting, he's doing the attacks. He's making those kills and he's making an impact.
And I think in volleyball and across all sports, because there's so much talent, it's becoming even more of a positionless game.
Scherer reads the tap. It's Lewis point. It's an error. Looks like a carry over.
You know, in all of my divine wisdom, I couldn't tell you what the infraction was there for Basilio, but still, we talked about how these sets have been neck and neck to the end. Ball State in control about halfway through.
BSL, he goes up for the kill, while Patrick Rogers is ascending too. You don't know what you're gonna get from the front row of this Cardinal squad.
It's just such that pick your poison offense. Rogers and Braden Savitsky-Lind right there. Lucas Machado could have gone up with it. On the opposite side, Basilio could have come from the back row. Ryan Lewis could have contributed.
Basilio, Braden Savitsky-Lind, excuse me.
From the back line.
On the touch, the Flyers get another point. It's Daniel Haber again.
And now we see it from the Lewis side, but the benefit of having a 5-1, and you see it across pretty much every team in the men's volleyball landscape, is it means that anybody on the floor can contribute to an attack.
Todorov, the Bulgarian, a service error right into the webbing.
And around the MIVA, we talked about it a little bit, but that Purdue Fort Wayne Loyola game is so important to how that #1 seed shakes out. Loyola just won the 3rd set to get ahead 2-0, or 2-1, excuse me.
Haber now. No. The bump for Rogers, and it's blocked. The Flyers trying to come back from the Cardinals near 20 points.
Rogers hitting at 217 at this point, coming into today 41.4. 217 is pretty average for your good outside hitter. Rogers has been amazing with his efficiency. It feels like it's not Rogers' day, but he's still not doing a bad job by any means.
Beggs Jr. serves. Rogers tried to get that back. And instead, Lewis does on the left. He's excited about that one.
Like I said, not doing a bad job at all. There he is with kill number 13. Second on the team to Ryan Lewis. Actually, they're knotted up at 13.
Patrick Rogers serves again. Paula dives for it. On the right, the tap over. And it's a Lewis point for Hawai'i.
And the Flyers are certainly still in it, but this is why it's so important to win that race to 20. Ball State needs just 5 points to get ahead in sets. Lewis is going to have to score 11.
Hoying into the webbing. Another service error.
And that time, it's not the Cardinals scoring, it's Lewis giving Ball State that point. Service error number 14 and number 21 across both sides.
Marty Canavan comes back in for Jacob Surratt. Cardinal Chaos is excited about this sub.
And it's a chance for redemption. He had his service error in the second set when he came up. Be a victory just to get it over.
And that he does. But Weyerhaeuser ends it quickly.
You know, Worthen got all excited just for Lewis to extinguish that momentum a little bit. Daniel Haber, quick-paced kill.
Scherer comes back in. Haber now again. Cardinal Chaos chanting at him. Lewis tries to trick him, but he'll try again. Not for that. Hoying, and off the touch, it's another Lewis point.
Lewis surged back at the end of that second set, and there's a chance that they could do so again right now. Ball State, although they have a 5-point lead, they are all out of whack.
Haber will serve again. Another crack of thunder from that one. But Basilio, off of Nico Paula, it flies towards us. Wow.
And it's a souvenir for the 4th row. Just watch that one from our spot sail over our heads and then land into the stands.
Whoever got that ball threw it back onto the Terraflex. And now back to the ball boy it goes. Ryan Lewis, it hits the net on the way over. Todorov wants one. No, it's out. Ball State now 2 points away from getting back ahead.
It was a good try on that attack from the Flyers, and it would have been pretty close to that line, except for the fact that it hit the line judge in the leg. Sure enough, raises the red flag.
Hoying now. A similar situation. And we got guys jumping over chairs. Lucas Machado, Ryan Lewis, and Patrick Rogers. They run for the ball to try and save it, but are unsuccessful. Just look at that. Wow.
The error on that is on Scherer. The problem with him, and it's not his fault, is he's got to get his body in front of him so that ball doesn't splay out. Use his body as a wall.
Weyerhaeuser now. Ryan Lewis wants it back, and he gets it. Clean cut kill from Ryan Lewis to go to set point.
And that's number 14 for Baby Giraffe. Just as Ball State starts getting a little bit out of whack, here comes Ryan Lewis, all 6'9" of him.
Worthen Arena on their feet. Basilio ready to end this one. Haber's not going to let them go down so easy. Ryan Lewis is going to end this one. Off the touch. Set 3. A gem for the Flyers. We start a new set with an attack error by Surratt in the middle. Lewis takes the first point.
And it's the first time that Jacob Surratt hasn't had an attack that has landed as a kill. It's registered as an attack error, but it puts his perfect attack percentage down just a tack.
Weyerhaeuser serves again. The attack fails. Patrick Rogers wants it this time, and a miscommunication and bobbling from Lewis gives the Cards the point.
It bounced off the head of Wyatt Jones when they were trying to bring that up. I believe it was Baggs that got the first touch. That's just a textbook roll shot from Patrick Rogers.
It's the Macho Man, Lucas Machado.
Sean Baggs ready for it, but it's kept alive. Patrick Rogers again, off the block. And Lewis wins the joust at the net.
And once again, we talked about it before, the one place where Ball State can't get anything their way is right at the stripe. It becomes no man's land when you're a foot away from that lattice.
Wyatt Jones now. The miscommunication, Lewis and Basilio both run at it. But ultimately, no one goes for the dig.
And Victor Scherer is smiling at this point, but you gotta be a little concerned if you're on the Ball State faithful. Just a miscommunication, again, uncharacteristic of them.
Scherer digs this one up. And P-Rod with the attack. It's still off the ground, but Lewis is ready for it, not quite. The attack, and Sean Baggs, he gets this one done.
Haven't called Sean Baggs' name in a long time on the offensive end. It's his 4th kill of today. Came in with 85, so pretty close to that 90 mark, and he might close the year in triple digits.
P-Rod again. Haber wants it, no. Regroup by the Cardinals. Rogers, Paul is there. Brozak. Long-winded rally. And it ends with a block from Lewis. How characteristic of them.
Nothing is going the Cardinals' way, and for the first time in a long time, Lewis really in the driver's seat. The last time we saw that was right at the beginning of this match.
And a timeout taken. Mike Iandolo. He's out looking at Daniel Haber and Patrick Rogers. They've both been electric offensively. Haber with 10 kills, Patrick Rogers with 13. Now he's gonna serve. Hoying ready to end it. Attack from the left.
Cameron Hawai'i pointing up to the Flyers. Daniel Haber the third.
Look at this play from the outside spot, Cameron Hoying. Backup setter, opposite hitter, outside hitter. Just adding more positions to his toolkit.
Joust ends in the Cardinals' favor. Cardinals ready to come back and take the lead and win this game once and for all.
And one more time, it's Ryan Lewis able to capitalize on these Flyers' mistakes. This is just high-quality volleyball between two rich programs.
Surrett now. Sean Baggs yelling for it, but Haber sets over. Lewis off the touch, perfectly placed, and another Cardinal point.
I mean, why not? It's number 17 now for him, leading both of these squads. And in that spin, attacking at just about 400%.
His season high of 25 kills versus Missouri S&T. He's ready to eclipse that, but a Surrett service error follows.
The way this match is going, there's a non-zero chance we get to that point.
Back to the line. And he will serve.
Sean Baggs Jr. meets the service line. Free ball back over on the reception. Machado kicks it, but ultimately, Gautier Brozak ends it.
And Ball State is trying anything to keep these rallies going. That time, Machado, he's a guy from Brazil. He's played a lot of soccer in his life. Tried to bring it to use there, but still not enough.
The quick wits from Lucas Machado, immediately bringing out the foot. But BSL, wow, just flies by.
And that's the issue with Ball State. They've been struggling in the front row, so when they get there to that middle spot, when you're throwing it up to Braden Savitsky-Lind or Jacob Surratt, whoever it is, you got to make it a short set so you can get it out fast.
Ryan Lewis, the man of the hour, serves. Hoying, it flies out. Patrick Rogers waves his fingers. No, no, no. No touch from Ball State.
And Hoying, among all of these other stars today, he's also been incredibly efficient. 47.8% on the day. That's his 4th attack error.
Lewis serves again for Haber on the back. Patrick Rogers tries to slide and pull a Lucas Machado to keep it in play, but does not succeed.
More than any other match, I've seen this Ball State defense scrambling all the way back to the end of the Terraflex to try and keep these rallies going. They are out of sorts in their receive defense.
It's hit back over. It's ended quickly for the Cards. BSL does it again.
And that's another net assist from Braden Savitsky-Lind. He put a lot of oomph into that kill attempt, but it bounces off the net, slows the speed, and Lewis, expecting a firecracker, instead softly into the hardwood.
Basilio serves for Daniel Haber in the back. It doesn't land. Ryan Lewis will try, but it meets the net.
It's about the one time that Ryan Lewis hasn't succeeded today, but I gotta shout out Victor Scherer at this point. Got his 17th dig right there. It puts him at his Ball State high and season high.
Formerly a player at Quincy. Rozak brings us back. What a serve from him. Flies high. Patrick Rogers, though, off the touch. An unsuccessful block try. Cannot withstand the Patrick Rogers kill.
And in a game like this, you got to watch Coach Dan Friend immediately. Before the ball hit the ground, he was already berating his players. We heard from Rowan's Open, he wants to beat Coach Iandolo so badly, and right now it's not going his way.
Haber now tries, and he'll get that point back for the Flyers.
If you want any chance to get on top in this one, you got to just feed your stars. This time it's Daniel Haber. He's been having yet another staple of a performance. That time gets it by 2 blockers, Macho and Surratt.
Weyerhaeuser to serve. The float. In the attack, no Flyer was prepared for.
The whole point of a float serve is to keep that front row active and put one of the pin hitters in a spot where it's less ideal for them to get the 3rd touch. Okay, so the next best person is the setter. Bring it to Machado, and a nice enough pass means he gets it on a 2nd touch kill.
Into the webbing it goes for Lucas Machado, another service error. Right now, Ball State and Lewis, the same attack percentage at 34. Still great numbers. Lewis from the left. Now Hoying tries. Now it's Patrick Rogers. And the blocking error and sails left.
I really want to know what's going through a pin hitter's mind when they're up in the air and the ball's coming down to them. Do you try and place it for a tool? Do you try and get it by him for a kill? It's got to be situational.
Quick decision-making required as a pin hitter. Hoying now. Block attempt. Sean Baggs off of Victor Scherer's shoulder. He rolls. But a kill for Sean Baggs. You can hear him yell, "Go up!"
And for both of these squads, there it is, the set right up the middle to Sean Baggs Jr. As soon as they feed it to the middle blocker, they're going to keep it short so the other team can't get on defense and can't get in positioning. Baggs just found the campfire. It was a wide open spot for him to land.
Daniel Haber serves. But Jacob Surratt. Daniel Haber out of sorts after not being able to revive that one. Flies in the stands. But again, as I mentioned earlier, look at the hitting percentage. Ball State now up to 34.9%. Lewis still at 34. Still so similar in numbers, and you can see that by how neck and neck this matchup has been.
Mentioned it previously, but really just the one word to describe a game like this is a firefight. Generally, it's been Ball State that comes out on top in this kind of situation, but Lewis is putting up an amazing fight.
What a dive for it from Rogers, and just too little from Braden Savitsky-Lynn to set it back over.
Yeah, you saw it on that attempt to set over. Again, he's a middle blocker. He's not used to trying to keep a bump inside his side. He's not used to having to free ball it over with a set. That time, there was a lot of spin on that ball, and it kind of came out of his hands wrong. You saw it go through his left, and it's why it wasn't enough to get over.
Baggs Jr. Perron wants it, and he gets it off the block and sails out again.
Well, I suppose that answers my question. From the back row, middle blockers are there. Let's go for the tool the long way. He's able to have enough pop where it hits the blocker's hands and goes out on the horizontal side of Ball State's boundary.
Hoying now for Basilio. Hoying will try again. And it's a Lewis point. Looks like a net violation. You can see it shaking.
Daniel Haber repeatedly grabbing the towel from that official's chair. Sweat has proven to be a problem, and at this point, such a close game, several very close sets. You gotta wonder if fatigue is a factor for both of these squads.
Yep, you could see right there, Braden Savitsky-Lynn's right arm just hitting the net for that violation.
And that could be fatigue as well. When teams and players get tired, fundamentals go away.
Patrick Rogers watches the serve sail by for another service error for the Flyers.
And the Canadian will serve.
Brozak off the block, but it sails out again.
Ball State hasn't done a great job of blocking at this point today. Just 2 as a team to Lewis's 4. That time they almost had it, but again, you can't keep those hands inside.
The Belgian. Service error out on the left.
It wasn't called, but I believe that Brozak's foot was on the line. And again, when we talk about the game of inches, it's just enough to where a ball that might normally sail out of play, stay inside, it might go the way that you may not necessarily want.
Braden Savitsky-Lynn serves. We see the kill. Daniel Gunther, we see him for the first time, and he already makes his presence known.
And we saw this in the Northern Kentucky game. He brings such an impact in tangibles and intangibles. He had 5 kills, nearly a career high against Northern Kentucky. And I know box plus minus isn't a stat in volleyball, but I have to believe his would be one of the highest on this squad.
Daniel Gunther excited by the Patrick Rogers kill, but it's unfortunately followed by a service error.
You know, he didn't begin the year with too much time. He wasn't in the starting rotation, but he's taken this middle blocker position by storm. And there's so many great ones on this Ball State squad that you really can go to any one of them. But Gunther, really dominant in his blocks more than anything.
Tyler Wallenga with the serve right by the bench. Patrick Rogers again. Brozak puts it into play. Haber sets it over. And Lucas Machado, the unexpected attack, and he gets it done.
I mean, Macho, are you kidding me? The first time that ball went Ball State's side, he scrambles over right here to medial row and sets it behind his head for Rogers to bring it over. That time, second touch, keeps the Flyers guessing and slams it right into the outside hitter. 1 point game.
Knocked Cam Hoying on his back. Now Macho serves. Hoying wants that back. Off of the arm. It doesn't sail out after that. It sails out after that, excuse me.
Cardinals started to gather some momentum. And now Lewis is clawing their way back.
Wyatt Jones. Going up for it, but Brozak gets it back. Hoying now. And the block! The monster block the Cards have needed. Daniel Gunther, look how animated he is from that one.
That's what I mean by tangibles and intangibles. Comes in on one of his first plays, slams it with some roof service to Cam Hoying, and then quite the exclamation point, in the air exclamation.
Patrick Rogers, you could hear how loud that was, and it flies out for the error.
In the game with heavy implications like this one, emotions are on the line as well, and we've seen Rogers make a couple decisions that perhaps could be influenced by how he's feeling. That time, finding the weakness in the defense. That time, Daniel Gunther, middle blocker, has to stay in the back row from the serve. And ball coming his way that fast, he's not used to having to make a dig like that. This is why the race to 20 is so important. Now it's 22-18. Lewis needs 3 points. Ball State has to stop them from getting 3. And in their way, 7 points.
Now this one's under review, maybe to see if it's out or not. It was called in by the line judge.
The Cards are 2-2 on reviews to this point. And that was a quick one. Lewis gets it their way.
Yeah, the Cards in this fourth set, it has not been going their way. As we can see in the fourth set, they're already down by 4. But Lewis has historically had some trouble in the fourth set, but they've been up so far, they've had it in their hands. They've lost 8 consecutive fourth sets, but it's looking like that streak is going to end today.
Well, and big props to them. They're exercising their demons at this point, and what a time to get it together. And then against a Ball State squad that's the best offense in the MIVA, statistically the best record in the MIVA, and do it in enemy territory.
Basilio, Daniel Haber could have let it fly. It could have gone out of bounds, but he dives for it and it hits his hand instead. He takes full responsibility.
You got to remember, with a history like these two teams have, it seems like fate that we're going to go to 5 sets. It seems like that's what's going to go on today, but you know that Ball State's going to have a little bit of extra oomph in these last few points. If they can somehow get 6 before Lewis gets 3, then they sneak out of here with a win.
Brozak on the attack, the block, it's out. The 5th set is in our midst.
And now the magic number is 2 for Lewis. That time, the attack from Godier Brozak. Look at this, he puts his entire body into it. Just one fluid, beautiful motion for the tool.
Hoying, a service error to halt the momentum.
And even with the Cardinals working their way back, it's still been just so neck and neck through this entire 4th set. This has been the best set of volleyball that we've seen in quite a long time. Again, it really seems like it's going to be the race to 15 pretty soon.
Warehouser tries, doesn't land. Now it's Patrick Rogers, but Hoying's right there. Now Hoying with the swing. And it's out. It's set point for the Flyers. And we're going to probably be taking this one to 5.
Now if you're Coach Iandolo, you've got some very interesting decisions to make about how you manage your stars. There really hasn't been too much rotation throughout this game, except the occasional Gunther, Canavan, and Wint.
Godier Brozak to serve. Into the video board. But Scherer What a hit, but unfortunately it's out and Lewis takes it. We're going to 5.
Regular season champion and that 1 seed.
The big set 5, Gaudier Brozak will take us back. Daniel Gunther. How about the German to start us off in the 5th?
You want to start set 1 with some attitude. How about Daniel Gunther right into the nose of Nico Paula, one of the best liberos and receivers in the nation. It's hard to tell that Gunther is a true freshman because he's come through so many times in big moments. In one of our previous broadcasts, he did so well against Ohio State. Now he's coming through against Lewis when he so desperately needs to.
Yeah, got his start against NKU. Has been a great contributor at the middle block position all season long. And now he will serve. Rogers is there, and it sails back over, and it's pressed down. Point Flyers.
And again, it's scramble mode for Ball State on the offensive end. Lucas Machado has been flying all over the floor to try and keep rallies alive. He did so just then, but Lewis able to just slam it down.
The Lewis bench hyped up for Weyerhaeuser's serve. BSL, Hoying somehow gets that back over, but BSL tries again, and he succeeds this time for another Ball State point.
And a big hug between Scherer and Savitsky Lind. How about some immediate redemption for BSL? And now the gamesmanship is alive and well. It is getting chippy.
We're getting serious here in Worthen. Ryan Lewis serves it. And Wyatt Jones reads the opening perfectly, and with precise placement, we're knotted up at 2.
And with a game that has gone on so long, the best thing to do on the offensive end is to keep the other team guessing. Do things that you don't normally do, and Jones just did so.
And Ryan Lewis tries, but Hoying trades, and it falls out.
Must have hit the fingers of Braden Savitsky Lind, but that ball went right to Coach Iandolo.
Kill went so fast, missed the touch. But Wyatt Jones will serve again. And the block by the Flyers, they're not ready to give this one up yet.
And we've said it and we've seen it, that volleyball is such a game of momentum, especially when it's in the 5th set. Ball State now having to use a timeout down 4-2. Every single point feels like just another dagger to the heart.
And both of these, Ball State is one of the only 2 remaining original MIVA teams. And Lewis blocks again. The Cardinals are out of sorts.
Normally with both the men's and women's teams for Ball State, when their head coach calls a timeout, they do such a great job of scoring immediately after and getting their squad back on track. That time for Lewis to stuff him again. Uh-oh.
Wyatt Jones has been continuing to serve, but ending that streak is Patrick Rogers. The Cardinals are ready to come back.
And that time it's the deception that Ball State so desperately needs. Braden Savitsky Lind jumping up for the feint, and then Rogers from the back row. It means that Wyatt Jones didn't know what was coming. It comes off his shoulder.
Service back for the Cardinals, it's Will Basilio. But Daniel Haber, Braden Savitsky Lind is down, and he's limping. Oh no, what a loss. Jacob Surratt will come in his place. And now for the Cardinals, it's win for BSL.
So in turn, it'll be Jacob Surratt, and I believe that 3rd middle blocker on the depth chart, at least today, will be Daniel Gunther, but you gotta wonder if Will Patterson will get a little bit of action.
He has, within the middle of the season, he had some starts. And the gameplay, and Godier Brozak with that fatal attack.
It's the most disoriented this Ball State team has looked pretty much all year. And then to lose one of your key starters, momentum is deflating fast, and the Flyers are halfway to a win.
Daniel Haber again, it's out.
Service errors can prove to be big. This is a chance for Ball State to start to get some wind under their sails and get something going, get themselves back in it. Yes, it will be Daniel Gunther, the second middle blocker.
For Sean Baggs, off the touch, Will Basilio. Angry about that one, he could have just let it go out.
That's just instinct for Basilio. Ball flies by him. He was the only one in the back row, shoved his hand out in front of it. It would have landed out of play, and it even did so after touching Basilio. Contact is his hand immediately. Had a little bit of extra English on it. And just like that, Lewis has another.
They can come out on top tonight. Saturday will mean so much more.
It's now just a chance for these two teams to chat with one another. There's only one timeout given in the 5th set, and we saw this with Northern Kentucky's coach in the last game that we got the chance to call. When timeouts are done, it's pretty often that you see a coach in dire circumstances pull out their green card and send a play under review. Now, will that play go their way? Not necessarily, but whether a challenge is correct or otherwise, it's just a chance for them to talk to their players one last time. And Ball State down 8-4 in the 5th set. They need it right about now. They need anything they can to build some momentum, not only come back and then keep going to come out on top.
And it wouldn't be so rare that Ball State puts it together and comes back, because in times that matter, in those clutch moments, they've been able to pull it off, but both of these teams, they're tired. The stamina is running out. It's just all about right now who wants it more. It's
tired, your starter is hurt, morale is deflating, a sub is coming in. You just gotta put things together.
Worthen Arena. The energy is high. Tyler Walanga will serve.
One play could change everything.
Hits the net on the way over. Ryan Lewis. In exchange, Lucas Machado. Wow.
And who else to go to but Ryan Lewis coming out of that timeout? He's been the hot hand all game long. Great play from Lewis to dig it enough that it goes on Ball State's side, but Lucas Machado, he wants to get this game over with and a dub on his side. That's his 5th kill, and he threw it down with authority.
The Cards only within 3 now. Coming back like this is not out of the realm of possibility, like I said earlier. When they are cohesive, when they play as a team, when they play together, they do some miraculous things. And it's a service error. But Micah Ndolo, he's challenging that pull.
Gather momentum, this is how.
The attack. Patrick Rogers, but a block puts it back down.
And what else but the Lewis block? As soon as Ball State tries to get anything going, it's the blocks that continually make Lewis succeed. They're first in the nation as a team for a reason, and they are trying to snuff anything out of Ball State.
They had 230 and a half total blocks coming into this match, which is unreal. Tap over, unsuccessful. Lewis tries again. It's kept up. Haber on the back row attack. The block unsuccessful. And Lewis has reached double digits.
And that's the move. That's the perfect decision to go to Daniel Haber in a back row attack. It's exactly what you've got to do in a moment just like that.
Patrick Rogers, the block attempt, but he puts it back down. Second chance points. If they were thinking volleyball, Patrick Rogers would lead.
And that's exactly what has to happen. Patrick Rogers, the leader, the frontman, the roadrunner, Captain America, whatever you want to call him on this squad, it's got to go to him. He's got to take advantage of anything he sees.
And wait till they know you coined Captain America. Warehouser off the block, but it's kept up by Paula. One tries and the block attempt succeeds again. It's Basilio and Gunther. The Cards might be back.
Wingspan denial from both pins, from the middle blockers. We've talked about Lewis and their blocks to this point. That's Ball State's third, and it couldn't have been any bigger. He's getting ready to say never celebrate too early. Up the middle, Gunther and Ryan Lewis had one at first. And then on the other end, Gunther joins Basilio, brings it on the other side, and just like that, it's a 2-point game.
Wow.
Facing Purdue, Fort Wayne, or Northern Kentucky, but it means home court advantage is in jeopardy.
It's Loud and Worthen. And Patrick Rogers unable to keep it off the ground from the push.
Now the magic number for Lewis is 4. Ball State needs 7 before Lewis can score 4. But here comes the spark plug, Godier Brozak.
He only played 31 sets before this game, but he's been fantastic. But unfortunate, a service error. You don't want that in a 5th set this close.
I mentioned the fact that Brozak is a spark plug, and he had been so for most of this game. He has the opportunity to be a spark plug in the wrong way now. Again, it's a chance for Ball State to come back. Lewis just can't finish off these cards yet.
Tyler Wint comes back in to serve. It gets over Daniel Haber, but Machado's there. He'll free ball it back over. Lewis regroups for Haber again, the block unsuccessful. And Warehouser, Ball State only down 1. The comeback is real.
To bring in Tyler Wint in this late game situation is an unbelievable decision. He's a true freshman that has 7 service errors to 2 aces on the year. This time, it works out.
Wint serves again. Haber with the attack. A block again. It's Ryan Lewis. Mostly he takes that one. We are tied in the 5th set. I told you the Cards know how to come back.
Look at that reaction from Ryan Lewis. He's doing everything he possibly can. And just like that, it's tied up at 11. It's a race to 4. What is going on?
I have no words. This game has been absolutely insane. The definition of neck and neck, back and forth. And I ask the question again, who wants it more?
You want to touch on attack percentage just one more time, you know, for good measure. Ball State 357, Lewis 342. Both of these teams, so much production on offense. Firefight, firefight, firefight.
Both teams on the money. The attack percentage just unbelievable. Offense, defense, they've been dialed the whole entire game. It's just these little mistakes that have cost them the sets back and forth, but Worthen Arena is erupting. Tyler Wint, a smile on his face as he returns to the service line.
And the decibel,
I can barely hear.
the decibel level is so high, we can't even hear each other.
Barely so. Patrick Rogers gathers. And the Cards take the lead with the Patrick Rogers kill. Ryan Lewis, he's hyping up the crowd. The Cards are ready to end this one within 3.
Who are you gonna call? You got perception that Ball State has needed from the top to the bottom of this game. They figured it out at the perfect time. They still got to finish the job, but they got to score 3 before Lewis scores 4.
Tyler Wint again. for Hoying. We're knotted up at 12 again. It's high-stakes MIVA action here tonight.
I want to see the ESPN odds of winning in a game like this. I want to see the way it fluctuates back and forth. It just went from 70% Ball State to 70% Lewis.
It's on Cole Schweitzer's shoulders to get this one over. Scherer picks up. Ryan Lewis off of Brozak. Schweitzer keeps it in play, and it's free ball back over by Hoying. It's set up for Lewis. He gets it this time. Cardinals are up again. It's 13-12.
The two leaders in kills at this point across either team. Patrick Rogers, 18. Ryan Lewis, now also 18, and hitting at 36% for good measure.
Now Ryan Lewis, the guy. Hoying wants it. The coffin corner gets him.
And when it's so loud like this, it's hard to hear one another on the court. It's hard to hear two fans talking to one another. It's hard to hear us talking and broadcasting this game. That time Ryan Lewis and Pat Rogers can't communicate as to who's going to get that.
Service error. It's costly at this moment.
Of every team in the MIVA.
Will Basilio ready to end this one? And he nearly does, but it's dug up by Brozak. Somehow kept alive. Hoying in the block, falls out of bounds. The next point wins.
What is going on, Annika? I don't know what to do in a moment like this.
We're going to extra points here. Haber. Lucas Machado diving.
Goddamn, my boy.
Worthen Arena gets quiet. The sportsmanship from the Flyers to check if everybody's okay.
All cheers for Macho there, went careening to get that set. Check this out. Goes right into media row, takes a hard hit on his left knee. That pad there isn't going to support him. These guys putting everything on the line, and Worthen held its breath for a moment, and Machado now being checked out to make sure he's okay. He popped back up just fine, but from the first set to the last, everything is on the line.
He's back in. Didn't even phase him. You could see on the replay our jaws dropped.
The Flyers will serve.
It's Lewis match point.
Did you better? 4, 5, 6.
It's rumbling in here. A service error. It's going to 17.
So 15-15. Win by 2 in the 5th set with a 1 seed on the line. What is going on?
Unbelievable stuff in here tonight. And Marty Canavan, again the TikTok legend. He's coming back in to serve. This is a crucial moment. It's over. Hoying. Canavan with the dig. Basilio keeps it up, and Patrick Rogers off the block. It's match point again for the Flyers.
And it's like a 5-tool player in baseball, Cam Hoying. He can kill. He's efficient with his attack percentage. He can get digs, he can get blocks, assisting. That time, roof service from the opposite spot. And Lewis 1 point away.
Sean Baggs Jr. He wants to end this war in Worthen once and for all. Can he do it? Or are we going to 18 points?
Come on, the end.
receive from Ball State. Of all people, you call on Marty Canavan to serve, and then Daniel Gunther. You could give it to Rogers, you could give it to Ryan Lewis, Will Basilio, any one of those guys. No, it's the true freshman Gunther that gets it done.
Lucas Machado, he comes to serve after taking a tumble. And an unsuccessful block falls back on the Cardinals' side. It's match point yet again for the Flyers.
After so much action, it's hard to believe that this is match point. We've had it several times already.
It's looking like this might go to an actual set length. And Lewis does it on a service ace. The